WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app.
Reporting live for War Room Sports. You're about to watch episode 193 of War Room Sports, while we cover March Madness and the NCAA tournament, the NFL free agency period as it winds down, and the NBA season as they head into that home stretch. But myself and D-Mac, Devin McMillan, we're going to check out the Boston Celtics versus Dallas Mavericks. Check us out. Peace.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello, plus-size ladies.
Welcome to the War Room. We got Dev, Kill, Jimmy, PJ, B. Austin, the Hot Block Commander. How you want it in a 1 or 2 hour show to get the brain running with the premise to talk sports on a national level. Bold with the topic, sorta like some rubber. When it's game time, they like the Fab Five during prime time. Sports conglomerates speak their minds a little bit. For sports medicine and sports veterans and greats. The 4 for 26, so the war in Kuwait. It's the War Room with 5 nights at the round table. 5 Philly guys, diversified and educated.
Yo, Will said the war in Kuwait, though. What up, War Room World? March Madness is here. And you are once again live in the War Room, brought to you by War Room Sports. I'm Devin McMillan, and I'm joined by the Blueprint, Jimmy Williams, and the HBCB Austin. The NCAA tournament is underway, and we'll give you our Final Four in a few minutes. But we'll also talk to author Stephen Settel about his new book, Trying to Make This Thing Right, based on events at UMass during John Calipari's tenure there. We'll also be speaking with Philly comedian Top Flight about the Autism Awareness fundraiser he'll be performing at this weekend. But before we do that, we got some more on deck for you, so make sure you join us right now in the JW Philly Realty chat room at blogtalkradio.com/The War Room, or join us on Facebook or Twitter at your leisure at War Room Sports so you can join in the conversations there. You can also call us directly when we open up the Digital Extreme Tech hotline at 323-410-0012. During the week, make sure you guys take some time out of your busy schedules to hear more great sports talk from some of our future network mates. Check out Roy and Chris on the Broad Street line every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time on Blog Talk Radio, and check out our boy Brandon Pemberton on Sports Trap Radio every Thursday afternoon from noon to 2 p.m. Eastern Time, also on Blog Talk Radio. As you notice, I said future network mates because, like we've been telling you for the past few weeks, you know, the War Room Sports Podcast Network will be debuting sometime within the next month to month and a half. We don't have a solid date yet, but as soon as we have one, we'll let you guys know. But watch out for that because you'll have our show, The War Room, and a lot of other shows, sports, culture, life in general, all kinds of stuff. It's coming. It's not just going to be a sports network, but it is brought to you by War Room Sports. But, you know, y'all know the drill. Every Friday, you can catch us in syndication 3 times on New Vibe Radio. That's 7 a.m., 1 p.m., and 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And on Sundays and Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on PhatsRadio.com. That's PHATZ Radio.com. All right, so what's up, fellas? Y'all been sitting in the ass grooves of your couches watching this basketball all day, or what?
Man, you already know. Yo, shout out to my brother B. Austin, who has the official X and XX podcast coming to the network. But the network will be popular for those who don't realize that. I don't think people realize like how much work and how crazy this network is going to be. Like we really put a lot of work into this in terms of acquiring, in terms of like just the planning. But it's going to be major, yo. So shout out to B. Austin with his new show. In terms of the tournament, shout out to everybody lying, saying they didn't pick Ohio State. Yo, I got tweet text. My bracket is perfect. I'm about to get this Warren Buffett. My last shout out before we move on, man. Shout out to our people at Bristol. You know what I'm saying? The 4 letters. They kicked it with us today. You know what I mean? ESPN trying to steal our publishing, but we ain't giving it up. But shout out to them anyway. You know what I mean? I'm on my hip hop, John. I'm just giving our shout outs right now. I feel like I'm at the end of a Wu-Tang album.
Get some new internet, B.
No doubt.
For those who don't know what I'm talking about, you will know what we're talking about when we drop the next episode of Inside the War Room on War Room Sports TV. Y'all going to know exactly what we're talking about. Just remember this line.
Absolutely.
Get some new internet, B. Just remember that line.
Yo, straight up, yo. Shout out to the 4 letters, though, man. We making major moves, man. Cats will see. one day it'll all make sense.
No, you got to be quiet. You got to move quiet. Yo,
Yeah. You already know. You know how it is. You know how it is when you get excited, though, beloved. Anyway, man, let's move on, man. Let's tell people what happened with while they were on the grind. Let's jump into some of these topics real quick before we start getting our guests on. Got a couple great guests tonight. While You Were on the Grind is brought to you by DirecTV. If you like a better TV experience than cable has to offer, including the NFL Sunday Ticket, go to our website at warroomsports.com. Click on the DirecTV logo and order a better TV experience at a discounted War Room Sports sign-up rate. If you call yourself a sports fan, you got to have DirecTV. If you have DirecTV, you could be watching every tournament game instead of just, But anyway, and also when the NFL starts,
I'm about to start calling our website the .com. Y'all go to the .com and get that.
The .com. You already know. Yo, here's the first story I want to bring to you. This young man got very emotional about Steve Smith's release, the Carolina Panthers. I mean, he was going off. His father and sister tried to calm him down, said, we still got Cam Newton. We got a couple other players. He didn't want to hear it. He doesn't like the Panthers anymore. The Panthers have lost a fan. I found this hilarious just because, Steve Smith is a random player, very talented player, probably my favorite player on the team just because of the way he plays the game, but he's not necessarily the star player. And for the kid to have that sort of attachment, it was kind of hilarious. Did you guys see the video? But also the other part of the story, before I even get to your answers, Steve Smith tracked him down via Twitter, with his followers and whatnot, and said he's going to spend some time with the kid in the future. So, shout out to Steve Smith for that. But what did you guys think about this video?
Yo, first of all, like you said, this kid was, distraught. I thought he was younger than he is. They're reporting that he's 7 years old. I thought the kid was a little younger than that, the way he was, acting and crying. Not that a 7-year-old can't cry, but, he just seemed a little bit younger to me. His little sister even seemed to know more about the team than he did. But it the whole story, it just gives you a glimpse into today's society and how powerful social media is, because this video, I'm not sure if it would be classified as viral, but a lot of people saw this particular video, because the man was exploiting his son in the first place. A lot of people saw the video. It got back to Steve Smith. He felt good about somebody feeling that way about him, so he decided to track the guy down on Twitter, the father, and it wasn't hard to find him. He went to Twitter with a message. Not too long afterwards, he went back to Twitter and said, I found him, and they actually set up something on, was it Good Morning America? Yeah, it was Good Morning America, where the little boy was there, and Steve Smith gave him a hug and gave him the first Smith Sr. number 89 Ravens jersey. So, all is well because of social media. This is one of those examples where social media actually did some good in a situation.
Real quick, B. Austin, before B. Austin says something, I just want you guys to know, everybody listening, don't go exploiting your kid trying to get no free gear now, because that's what's going to happen. The floodgates are going to open.
Everybody going to tell their kid to cry.
Irrelevant players. Right. Yeah, get your kid to cry. Cut it out, yo. Go ahead, B. Austin.
I'm going to get my kid on.
I was actually going to hit him with the pull your skirt down, see?
Yeah, he was
all that crying and stuff. All that crying and stuff. Steve Smith ain't never do nothing for you, B. But, on the
players
other
get cut every day, B.
Players get cut every day, B. On the other side of that, it is nice to see a positive story in the news, because we give out so many JoJo awards. It's now gotten to the point where we give, there's at least 5 nominees an episode on average. And so it's nice to see Steve Smith in the news for something that's positive. He's utilizing social media for a positive connection with his fan base, building, the softer side of his brand, which Steve Smith is known more or less for being 189 pounds and bullying 300-pound linemen and smacking defensive backs up, and finding cats in the off season and punching them in their chest and becoming their dad and all types of stuff like that. So shout out to Steve Smith for doing a positive thing.
And Dev, you talked about how social media can be used for good, yo. It definitely can. I was involved in the story. Let me tell you a quick story. I did a real estate deal with this dude, you know what I'm saying, because I does that. Guess who's the Black Trump? But no, I got a tweet from this dude because we did like a little video of the whole transaction or whatever. But anyway, dude was like, "Yo, that's my pop. I've been looking for him for like 15 years." I'm like, "Yo,
damn."
So, dude, some dude in this,
Look at the blueprint, man. Putting families back together since 1970.
Families back together, man.
This is what
based on Twitter.
is about.
Yo, based on Twitter, yo. By the way, you can add me JW Blueprint.
Yeah, Adam JW the Blueprint if you want to find your pop.
I put families back together, man. Yo, but it's crazy because you see stories from time to time like this, and you know anything that can be used for bad can also be used for good because we know the bad things that come about. We talk about it every week, so you know this was a good thing. Just wanted to throw that out there.
Well,
you know,
last thing before because I do have the clip for people who didn't hear the clip of the little boy when he heard Steve Smith got cut. This is the clip.
Somewhere deep down in my heart, I still love you.
We didn't get the rest of his cry, though. That was the best part.
Yo.
I thought that was on there. I'm tripping.
Yo, no, man. Yo, I need you about to play that, B. Yo, let's move on, though, because it's a couple of stories I got to get to. Definitely got to get to. Especially this one. And this will be the first JoJo Award nominee. For those who don't know what the JoJo Award is, we give it out weekly, and you'll hear it soon. Here's our first nominee. Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay was arrested for DWI and then after that checked himself into a treatment facility. You know, drinking is no joke, but you're the owner of a football team. People are looking up to you. Come on, B. You have to be a JoJo Award nominee. What do you guys think?
Yeah, this is an unfortunate situation. Really?
Apparently, Irsay has been a drug addict for a number of years.
That just that sounds so harsh, but like most of the time you say it is true, but you don't. You know, you think of a drug addict, you think of like a crackhead, but you know, if you own drugs, you're a drug addict.
That's how the media has us programmed. And when we hear a drug addict, we see Pookie. We see Pookie with
ashy sound lips. Harsh, man.
Well,
I mean, you know, that's what America wants you to think, man. I ain't gonna get into that, but you know.
Irsay is
like the person that has a drink every day think they're not an alcoholic, but you know you're an alcoholic.
But they are. There's nothing more divisive and base than the idle rich. And you know I've read reports where they say outside of passing through the Colts facilities and being a little bit of the face of the franchise, all Irsay did was pile mountains and mountains of coke on the desk and dive in and pop pills and drink and live that fast life. Like, that's real talk, and it's been going on since the 90s. And the Colts organization has done a tremendous job of actually hiding it, which in a way is bad because they've been enabling him to continue this facade when your man was popping pills, sipping syrup, and doing his Benny Siegel thing. Like, he's out of control.
But look, he said back in October, he said back in October that he hadn't had a drink in 15 years. However,
but he had a snort.
That's what I say. However, that's not all. That's not all he got caught with, because he has actually 4 felony counts. The whole drinking thing, that was a misdemeanor count. The DWI part. They said they found him with all kinds of stuff like Xanax and Ambien and stuff like that.
Xanax. He was on his pill game.
Yeah, so he had a lot of pills that he was popping. So he's facing 4 felony counts and a misdemeanor count. So it's crazy. And you know the first thing we heard from the first thing we heard from everybody is, why when a player does this. I didn't really understand because they were putting his business out in the news and, he was getting slandered on TV. So I don't really see what the difference is. Maybe they're talking about as far as punishment, but, it just happened and he doesn't play. So he can't get a 4-game suspension. And he owns the team. So, he's usually the one that's responsible for doling out punishment. Like, who gonna check me, bro? I don't get it.
Why do people act like they don't know how this all works and comes together? He's not a player. He buys and sells players. He's rich.
All right, hold on, though. All right, here's the bottom line with the whole Jim Irsay thing. You are the first episode JoJo Award nominee. So Jim Irsay.
And Jim, just like we ask these players who are rich, who are not even halfway rich on his level, why the hell don't you have a driver or something? What are you driving for?
Yo, you don't even need a driver. Try Uber, man. Like, yo, Uber will get you where you need to be, yo, for half the price. Although Uber's on some BS now. They got different rates based upon what time of day you use their service. So FOH to Uber, unless you want to cut us a check, then I'll take everything back I just said.
But he can afford it. He can call a cab. Take me to 444 Canyon Road.
I knew what type of dude, as far as the driving is concerned, I knew what type of dude Irsay was when I saw him picking up Peyton Manning from the airport, doing the driving. So he ain't the type. He does everything himself.
Yeah, anyway, man,
he's a billionaire and
I think that we may have another JoJo Award nominee, although he was.
If I made $300,000, I wouldn't drive.
All right, here you guys go. Ben Wallace was sentenced to a year in jail for leaving the scene of a wreck. Now, for those who don't know who Ben Wallace is, as Dev just said, he's a hacking ass. But he, NBA All-Star. the guy made himself a player.
NBA hacker.
I mean, he played defense, grabbed rebounds, and defensive player of the year. So the guy has a quality resume. Say what you want to say about him, but the bottom line is he had some issues with some young ladies. Some fornication took place. Babies were made, and he got into a lot of mess.
Jim, this arrest is from that same story.
So he had one story. He was a JoJo Award nominee a couple weeks ago because he knocked up some chick who wasn't his wife, and his wife snapped on that chick. He couldn't control your baby mother, but he couldn't control her. And, because of that, he was kind of frustrated and smacked his car out, but left his car at the scene, so he's in all kinds of trouble, from one incident, man. So, before you guys give your opinion of this, I mean, I think it goes without being said about Ben Wallace.
First of all, like Jimmy was saying, this is from the exact same story we talked about last week. We were a little late with that story, but he smacked his car into somebody's fence when he found out that his groupie was pregnant. But he left the scene of the accident. Like, you're gonna smack into somebody's fence and you're not gonna wait. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, leave the car, though. Like, they're not gonna. The car's in your name, King. What are you thinking about?
He got away with it though. He got away with it because he was sentenced to a year, and the judge commuted all but 2 days.
2 days. So
he's
really gonna serve 2 days. Yeah.
Yo, you know what it was though? Honestly, I'm gonna tell you what it was though. I'm about to get my B. Austin speculation on. He probably got away with a lot more because he probably was on that Irsay when he left the scene, and because they got out with him later, they couldn't prove that he was on that Irsay.
He was with Irsay. It was him and Irsay.
But no, I think that's a really good speculation because I know they claim that he heard the news and did that, but truthfully, that has driving under the influence written all over it. You just don't jump pavements and smack fences for no reason. So I truly believe that what Jimmy's saying is definitely the case.
You believe he could have
gotten so much more trouble, so he's like, shit, let me go home, sober up, take this little punishment they're going to give me for smacking this gate up. Let me pay for the gate. And they give me, that's probably how he probably offered to pay for the fence. Probably did some more renovations to do the house that he didn't have anything to do with, and got his sentence suspended down to 2 days. Let me smack a gate, though. I'm doing that year.
You already know. You already know what it is.
Being there protecting my neck.
Yo, last story that happened while you were on our grind, and this is, take this with a grain of salt. Media Takeout reports. That's right, we read Media Takeout. They're claiming that a gay 49er and who's a big-time player is going to come out before the season starts. What I find interesting
about
Vernon
Davis was already out.
See, he already started. What I was going to say is what I find interesting is what B. Austin just said is what everyone said. As soon as the story broke, everybody says, "Oh," I'm like, "Yo, why do y'all jump to one guy? Is he really carrying himself in such a manner that that's everybody's first choice?"
Go back to the story you sent us. Go back to the story you sent us. The very first comment says Vernon Davis. Like people like this.
Yo, everywhere on Twitter.
You know what people are saying? Is this really a story? Like, is this really news?
More or less.
Like,
it's funny though because I guess he has like some feminine traits or what have you. It must be a reason why everybody's saying Vernon Davis. I know he's into interior design, but that doesn't mean that he's a pillow biter. But at the end of the day, like,
do you see the way this young man dresses?
He wear a lot of Vaseline on his lips too.
Yo,
I'm getting away from this story because y'all bugging. My point is this, though. It's probably.
Yeah, I think Vernon Davis is too obvious.
No one would guess, like Francis MH or something. That would break people's hearts if it's Francis MH.
Yeah, I think it's too obvious to be Vernon Davis. I'm not saying I don't think Vernon Davis is, but he's probably not coming out. It's probably Colin Kaepernick.
Don't he mess with short thumbs? He messed with short thumbs, right?
Nah, but anybody meet and have a photo taken together, they all of a sudden mess with each other.
Sanaya Lathan, little thumbs. Yeah. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, look at Sanaya Lathan's thumbs, yo. She got little thumbs.
But can handle that.
Colin Kaepernick gets box offerings by the minute. So I know that'll break a lot of young toots' heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I just found it interesting that everybody jumped to Vernon Davis. Everybody. That was crazy to me. Like, I don't know who it is. They said it's a big-time player, so there's only a couple big-time players you could think of. Patrick Willis, Frank Gore, Colin Kaepernick. Who else could it be? Who's a big-time player in the Niners?
The way Pat was getting trucked this year, letting men lay on him.
That's B. Austin, homie, though. Anyway, man, so that's what happened while you want to grind. We'll see what happens if anybody does, in fact, make that decision. They're going after them dollars right now, so everybody seems to be, on that wave. Shout out to Pusha T.
But that's Steve Nash. I want that money.
Steve Nash. Yo, let's move on though. Dev, who had a birthday?
Yes, sir.
Week, yo?
All right, the birthday.
My birthday! Yay!
As usual, the birthdays are brought to you by Dr. Monique Roll of Alexandria Podiatry Associates for the best and comprehensive treatment of injuries to the foot, ankle, and lower extremities, or if you just got hammer toes, ugly feet, or whatever, visit Dr. Monique Roll of Alexandria Podiatry Associates, treating patients in the D.C., Maryland, Virginia area and beyond. Don't think you can't get treated because you don't live in that area. You never know. Visit alexandriapodiatry.org or call 703-379-0700. Again, that number is 703-379-0700. And when you do, make sure you tell them that War Room Sports sent you.
My birthday, yay!
All right, first birthday today is one Mr. Marcus Vick, the little brother, just for being Marcus Vick. Y'all made that man a JoJo nominee just for being Michael Vick's little brother that can't keep his mouth shut on Twitter. Mike Vick, for all that he's gone through.
That's for the future.
But for all that Mike Vick has gone through, it's like he's done his best to stay out of the news in any negative way, since he's been back on the field. But Marcus Vick just won't let the Vick name stay clean. Like, he always has something to say. He's always slandering Mike Vick's teammates, his organization, and stuff like that. The organization that gave him a chance, when he came back. Who knows if anybody else was lined up to do so. But, not to say they're above slander because of that, but the stuff that he used to complain about, it was very weak. But shout out to Marcus Vick. He turned 30, so maybe he's turned into a man. Shout out to Jamal Crossover. Jamal Crawford turns 34. That's one of B. Austin's top 5 players of all time. Shout out to Mookie Blaylock.
True.
The last part of his name was very fitting because Mookie used to lock people up, just strip people like they, weren't NBA players and go the other way. Mookie turns 47 today, so shout out to him. And another shout out to one Mr. George Pat Riley, president of the Miami Heat, multiple champion coach with the Heat and the Lakers, basketball player, the league, to Kentucky. Y'all know Pat Riley's story. He turned 69 today. So we like to give Pat and the rest of these brothers a nice big War Room salute on their birthday. Happy birthday, homies.
It's my birthday. Yay!
All right.
Yo,
So
man,
what do you
Pat Riley.
Yeah.
Pat Riley, right? Like, the thing about Pat Riley, when you just mentioned his birthday, yo, got to give him a shout-out because he's one of the greatest, figures in basketball of my lifetime. We always talk about his success as a coach, as a GM, as a president, so he's a lifer in terms of basketball. And he was a great collegiate basketball player, for those who don't know. Pat Riley used to put up buckets. I mean, this is when a dude just averaged, over 20 points a game, came into the league and became a role player. I think at times people forget just how difficult the NBA is and what level you're playing at, because a dude in the NBA who's considered a role player was a star at one point in his career in college, and it happens all the time, and you forget that, you know what I mean? So, shout out to Pat Riley, yo.
Yeah, that's real talk. That's real
Damn near
talk.
70, though. He damn near 70, which means, we old as hell. So, at any rate, man, tell people how they can get in touch with it.
All right, somebody's scrizzling. All right, everybody, y'all can check out our website at warroomsports.com. While you're there, be sure to sign up for the War Report. That's our weekly newsletter. Click on the Contact Us tab to send a message to us about our company, our show, and inquire about sponsorship and advertising opportunities. For general inquiries, email us, info@warroomsports.com. While you're browsing the site, click on the Memorabilia tab to buy War Room Sports merchandise. Click the Blog tab to read our latest sports articles on the All's Fair in Sports and More blog. Then click the respective icons to like our Facebook page, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our iTunes podcast, to download our free War Room Sports mobile app, and to watch our videos at warroomsportstv.com. Join the JW Philly Realty chat room right now during the show at blogtalkradio.com/The War Room. To enter the chat room, just sign up for a free profile on Blog Talk Radio. Be real quick. If you don't want to do that, though, you can sign in through your Facebook and Twitter accounts, and while you're at it, click follow to get updates and reminders about the show. We'll be taking questions and reading posts from Facebook, Twitter, and the chat room during the show. To call in and speak with us directly, dial the Digital Extreme Tech hotline at 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk. So, B. Austin, what's the deal? Do we have our guest on the line?
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen of the War Room, appearing for the first time, we have author Stephen Sattel. Stephen, how are you? Good evening. Stephen.
Good evening to you. I have a number of interviews this weekend, but I'm glad to be kicking everything off with the War Room.
Thanks so much.
Great,
and before we get started, I just want to let the audience know that, Stephen is here with us to talk about his new book. The book has been released already, correct? It's already for sale?
Yeah, it's available on Amazon.
Okay, it's on Amazon, and it's called?
Trying to Make This Thing Right.
All right. So everybody look out for that. We're going to talk a little bit about that real quick, and we'll give you some more information right after we finish. So, B. Austin, do your thing.
Yeah, sure. You got it, Deb. Our first question for you, Steve, was what prompted you to write the book, and why now? Can you talk a little bit about?
I had a unique opportunity in the late '80s, early '90s, really late 1989, where UMass was, had a new coach, young coach, and I was just substituting someplace, and a guy asked me if I'd like to tutor a player for the team, and I thought this was a great opportunity for a number of different reasons. First of all, I was on my own at a very young age, and so I came in contact with the black community and the streets, and had to learn the language, and fell in love with the black community. Then I struggled myself to get into college, and I realized every subject had a language, and every language breaks down. And then I loved basketball, and I had a real enthusiasm for learning. And I thought if I could help these young people who were coming from basically ghetto kind of situations, which I knew intimately, to be able to bridge the gap between that world and the university. That it would be a really nice challenge for me. And it ended up being a really good learning experience for me because I learned a tremendous amount of African American studies. And the person that I started working with was Kennard Robinson, who was the first Prop 48 player accepted to UMass. And he ended up on the honor rolls the whole time, and we're very good friends today. And everybody followed him. So it was a really good situation. The book, which is basically a novel, but based around that situation, it shows that in depth. And I know you've read the books. You may want to say something about it as well. But what the education process was, and how to get players to take what they already know and relate it to the university process, and then to reconnect with home, which is also a very important thing. And I used to tell players all the time, the best people you're ever going to meet isn't where you're going, but where you came from. Because so many times you're told, well, you got to get out of the ghetto, but that's home, and there's very important people there, and there's a lot of wisdom there. And so, that's a whole process, and as part of that process, the study hall became a safe place to be. So the players loved coming to study hall because we had a good time, but they also never left until their work was done. And so that whole process is going through in the book. And then, unfortunately, the process was undermined, and it was undermined by John Calipari. We were getting very good players at UMass because other schools could not take those players because of academics. And that's been thoroughly researched. But the fact of the matter is, once they got there, they were very successful. They became very successful with the academics. So it worked out really, really well for everybody. And then once we made the Sweet 16, Calipari kind of panicked, and he became a totally different animal. And he just undermined the whole process, and it became a very dangerous situation up there. The players began collapsing. Mike Williams collapsed on the game against St. Louis, which was on national TV. Marcus Camby collapsed. Neither one of those players, you could find anything wrong with them. And I had predicted that something like that was going to happen beforehand. And the reason why I feel that it happened was because of the intensity of the mind games that were being played against the players in terms of what reality was and the disconnection from reality.
Okay, Steve, this is Jimmy. I have a question for you. I'm a huge fan of books, so I actually own your book. I'm reading the book now. And it brought up a lot of questions in terms of college athletes understanding what's in front of them in terms of academics, taking advantage of the opportunities they have. But it also reminded me of John Chaney, who's one of my heroes. He was very critical of Calipari for not graduating players and for his approach to academics. So it made me think of that. But the question I have, nonetheless, is the protagonist, Kashawn. My question is, how does the story continue beyond the book, if you thought this far? Because I know it's based upon a true story, but it's not necessarily true. It's inspired by. So, my question is, how does the story continue after the book?
You mean in terms of there has to be a sort of a separation between the book and what happened at UMass.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I want to kind of talk about them separately. The main character in the book is Kashawn, and the character and the player that I worked with at UMass was Kennard Robinson. That was the first player that I worked with, and then everybody else kind of followed him. And as I kind of, first of all, I have a website, Bridging Worlds Films, bridgingworldsfilms.com, and there's 3 films on there. And Kennard Robinson is in all 3 films. and a lot of the players and professors at UMass are on the first film, so you can see the whole process, from their own words in terms of, what they had to say about it. Kennard is in his almost in his middle 40s now, and he's a very, very good father. He became a good player in Europe, but he went through a lot of transitions. He came back here. He worked in the banking industry and was making pretty good money. Same thing with Tommy Pace, and then that whole industry kind of vanished, and then they had to both of them had to scramble and scrounge and found other things to do. Interestingly enough, Kennard became a history teacher, which was where we started at. But the things that they have said to me, and the thing that I take a lot of pride in, is that I would tell them, you can do everything that I tell you to do, and have things go wrong, and preparing them for the adversities of life. That everything is not what it looks like, and that you have to, get enjoyment out of life. You have to be interested. You have to want to keep learning. You have to, all of those kind of things. And they picked up on that, and every time they made those transitions, they were successful transitions. And so that's worked out very well. And you're talking about 20 years at this point.
Yeah.
Hey, all right, Stephen. This is Devin. I just wanted to know, do you know whether or not Coach Calipari has read the book, and if so, what were his thoughts, since it's based on events during his tenure at UMass, and if he hasn't, are you comfortable with him, reading the story, because since it's loosely based on,
all of those guys. Kennard knows about the book. Kennard read a long time ago the first part of the book. I tried to email to him for something happened to it, and so I'm interested in everybody reading the book. Calipari isn't gonna like the book, and my criticism of Calipari goes beyond the book, because there was a lot of investigations done on Calipari by the Boston Globe. He did a lot of things, and he should have never been allowed to do those things. Now,
and
I
not
say that,
just
and
at UMass,
I have
too.
respect for Calipari. I was up there at UMass. He created a special situation up there. That's a situation that I treasure, and I have respect for a number of things that he does, that he did to put that situation together, and I still have respect for certain things. But there's other things that he did which I find totally despicable, and I don't have respect for. And those things go beyond the book, but those things you can find on Where There's Smoke, There's Fire.com, Where There's Smoke, There's Fire.com, and those are investigations from the Boston Globe and different places like that. For instance, Calipari stealing the football team's logo and making hundreds of thousands of dollars on it, giving tickets to known, gangsters, basically. And that's not coming from me, but you can read those articles. Those are from the Boston Globe. Telling the suspending Mike Williams for the first game of the year, which happened to be against the number one team in the country, when the whole team, the academics were in shambles. And let me read to you Calipari's statement. Let me see right here. Let me emphasize, Mike is not academically ineligible by NCAA or institutional guidelines, Calipari said, but the standards we have are higher than those required by the school and by the NCAA, and it is important for our players to understand that. Okay, the fact of the matter is, we had when I left the team, everybody was in line to graduate. The graduation rate up until then was very, very good. Calipari is the one that sabotaged it, and at that point, everybody was, not everybody, but most of the starters and most of the team the academics had gone way down, and they admitted to that. And so so Calipari, the only reason why he did this to Mike was to prove that he could win without Mike. And it may take a longer interview, reading the book, to find out, or the website, exactly what transpired over the long period of time. But don't forget, when Calipari went to New Jersey Nets, he chased a reporter down who wasn't even talking to him and called him a Mexican idiot. There's a lot of zealot things about John and things that John did. And having said that, I still have affection for him, affection for his family, and respect. I have quite a bit of respect for different qualities that he had, because when I saw him with some of those qualities, was not with the one-and-done teams, it was building a team. And I thought he did one of the most remarkable jobs of recreating and building a program. But like I said, once he hit the Sweet 16, he panicked, and he was not the team player. And as a matter of fact, he undermined anybody that was the team player or was behind him, trying to keep a good, stable program. And if you really look at what happened, you could see the whole thing was sabotage. Players, academic problems, players collapsing, all kind of things like that, and then ultimately being put on probation. I mean, at the same time, the Calipari is saying this about Mike Williams. Marcus Camby is in the process of getting UMass on probation.
Steve, this is Bradley. One of the questions that I wanted to ask is with the gravity of the actual book and the implications, the situations that you touched on, what lessons does the book lay out for up-and-coming players, maybe currently in high school and looking at a major Division I program with a coach that has maybe a reputation, and also what lessons for their parents and their support system that's behind these players?
Well, I'm not an expert on NCAA basketball teams. I've seen some of them. When I came to Philadelphia, I used to go to Coach Chaney's practice, Dawn Staley's practices. Got to know them well. Phil Martelli, those people. But what I would say is consistency. It's the same thing with parenting, and I know, Bradley, you're a parent, and consistency becomes very, very important. And so, what Calipari had put together was a team of people and a good program. And there was a lot of consistency there. And then once the consistency was undermined, so the book really shows how beneficial a basketball team can be, and that you can win, that you can do well with the academics, and those kind of things. And so that was the thing that was so special about the program. And just have a coach that is consistent and believes in what they what they're doing and the life lessons of life. And I think that the book in great detail tries to show that. In any situation that you're getting in with a basketball team or anything like that, it can become like a drug, and it can become very dangerous, and so it's important to keep young people's feet in front of them, and to that's why study hall was so important, because we spent a lot of time talking. And, as we talk, when adults talk to children or young people, that's when those are the people that become most successful. So that if you have a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, you read to them and you talk to them, and that kind of thing, they're going to go into the world with more information than someone whose parents that don't. When you have players at a university who are making such big transitions and have so many things out there, that they can are so enticing, and but then where the fall can also be very, very big. You've got to really caution them and get them ahead of the game. And the biggest part of cautioning young people is for them to trust you, and you have, it takes time to build that trust. But after a while, they do.
Well, Steve, we're really excited about the book. We're excited about what it means, and you kind of taking the time out and having the courage to actually tell the story. With that being said, kind of tell our audience, what your plans are in terms of promoting the book, where they can see you and interact with you, and where they can also purchase the book.
Okay, well, right now you can get the book on Amazon.com. You can get it at CreateSpace.com, and they have a store, CreateSpace.com. And then once you get in there, you put in store. Most people are familiar with Amazon. The book is going to begin next week to be available up in Massachusetts and in some places in Philadelphia, Black and Nobel. And then we're going to be trying to circulate it around and get it. As I say, I have several websites. Bridging Worlds is the name of my program. So bridgingworlds.net is a website and that you can communicate with me on. And that has a lot of the articles from up at UMass. Then there's Bridging Worlds Films. There's Satel Books, which lists my other books. And then there is Where There's Smoke, There's Fire, that gets into more, because my book is a historical fiction, but this Where There's Smoke, There's Fire is only nonfiction. And then my email is bridgingworldsprogram@yahoo.com. bridgingworldsprogram@yahoo.com.
Okay, we'll definitely promote the book. Put the links up on our social media sites. Let the people know if they have any questions, and if we can't answer them, we'll get in touch with you and get some answers for them. But we'll definitely make sure that people know about the book and have the opportunity to go out and purchase it.
I appreciate it so much, and I really appreciate hearing from the people that read the book. That's the best joy of it.
No doubt.
Right.
Absolutely. All
right.
Thank you, Steve.
We take it easy, Steve. Thanks for the call.
Thank you, guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, Steve Satel.
All right. Bye. Trying to make this thing right. You guys can pick that up at Amazon.com. And like you said, you can also pick it up at CreateSpace.com for now. If anything, if it's available in any more avenues, we'll definitely let you guys know.
Absolutely,
man. That's interesting, man, because, we always hear about, John Calipari and the negatives. I think not only because Stephen had a front row seat to some of the stuff he did when he first got to big-time coaching. You hear from other coaches, they don't necessarily like him too much because of some of his methods and tactics and the things that he does. But I never really heard the angle about the players and the mind games that he allegedly ran with the actual players. I always thought it was
crazy.
Just, Calipari was known to be a cheater. But
first thing I think of is John Chaney getting ready to go in his mouth. You know what I'm saying? That's the first thing I think of. That's one of the greatest clips in the history of sports. But let's move on, though. We got our next guest ready to come on. For those who don't know, this is the best up-and-coming comedian out of Philadelphia. He's going to come on and talk some sports with us, but also talk about a great cause that he's supporting. So without further ado, let's get him on the air now. We got a Top Flight. You on?
Yes, sir.
What's up, good brother? How you?
What's going on?
I'm all right. How y'all?
Flight.
All right, listen,
good.
man. Let's just jump right into it. The first thing I gotta ask you is, what are your favorite sports? And in those sports, who do you root for?
My favorite sports, basketball. Got to go with Miami and the Sixers all day. Miami and Sixers. I don't care what nobody say. I know the Sixers. See, this
but
guy
you're from
must
Philly,
be
though, so we have
got
no
it.
problem with the Sixers. But
I'm a Sixers
we got to
fan.
question Miami more so than the Sixers, though.
I struggle with you with the Sixers. I've been a Sixers fan all my life, but
Hey,
Miami.
man, you know the Sixers are bad when they can't even give away tickets, okay? They're in the parking lot right now trying to give away tickets, and nobody wants to go.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
But hold on, though. What's up with Miami, though? How you going to say Miami, though? What's up with Miami?
I'm a D-Wade fan always and forever. This is last year because he got Uncle Drew pop-out knees right now. So we're trying to get
so you more so a D-Wade fan then?
Right. I mean, yeah, LeBron doing it right now, you know, but I've been rocking with D-Wade since he got the first championship with Shaq. So, you know, I'm a Miami fan, diehard Miami and diehard Sixers.
Got you. Here's the thing, though, right? We talk a lot of sports, but we have this thing we do called Versus, and we usually started off with athletes where we debate who's better between this person and that person. But since we have you on and comedy is your thing, we decided we're going to ask you a couple questions about comedy, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to give you two comedians, and I want you to tell me who's better in your opinion. All right, so the first two I'm going to give you is Martin Lawrence and Chris Rock.
Martin Lawrence.
All right, why is Martin better, in your opinion?
I agree.
Martin Lawrence is better because he was more urban. Chris Rock was more mainstream.
So it's more of your preference. You like Martin better.
Right. All
right, now I'm gonna give you.
Martin
I'm gonna give you the big.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No,
y'all
let you finish.
Do this. What y'all got a timer on this station?
No, go ahead.
No. We got some more questions to get. We got more questions. We want to ask you some more questions. But no, go ahead, finish.
No, I want to hear what he has to say, though.
I see this is like Family Feud. Like I got to hit the buzzer quick. Okay, go ahead.
No, but what are you getting ready to say about Martin, though?
No, we done moved on past that one, brother.
All right. No doubt. I got another one for you. Because this is one that our fans debate damn near daily when we talk about comedy, right? And that's the Eddie Murphy and Richard Pryor.
I don't want to touch that one. I'll plead the fifth on that one, man. I can't do that.
Come on, man. It's all about preference. So what's your preference?
I can't.
Come on, man. It's a preference question.
All right, well, for me...
That's like asking, who do you love more, your mother or your grandmother? You just can't pick one or the other. Like,
my grandma.
You can't do that. You can't.
Oh,
now your mom mad at you. Oh, you gonna pick your grandma? I called you for 9 months. You know, you can't do that, man.
Well, here's a question though. Who is your favorite?
You can preface it by saying, "Well, I love them both." But you got, you know.
That's how you clean it up. Like I can't pick one or the other. That's like asking who make the better potato salad.
Mom,
let me ask you this question though. Let me ask you this question then. In terms of comedy, who are some of your inspirations and who's your favorite?
Well, right now, definitely everybody is. They want to be Kevin Hart. I mean, he's tearing up everything.
Yeah.
So
naturally,
you got to say him because he's in my era. So definitely Kev. The Martin. I can go on. Bernie, rest his soul. Steve Harvey. I mean, it's a whole list. Red Fox. Paul Mooney. There's a bunch of guys. That I definitely look up to. So.
All right, well, who's overrated? Who's overrated then? Let's ask you that question. It's like, no, I'm not going to.
He trying to get
I'm not going to do that.
You trying to get me kicked off some shows?
No,
I'm not going to do that.
We like controversy.
I'm not going to do that. Let me ask you a question. Do you watch football at all?
Yes, sir. Big Eagles fan. Right. Let's go. Let's have it.
All right, Eagles fan. So, what do you think about the Eagles in this upcoming season?
We're definitely getting past the second round. I don't know about Super Bowl, but we got to see how this draft goes. We got some defense we need to fine tune and tweak, and then I will believe that Super Bowl is in the making. If we keep everything together and Foles has a good season like he did last year, because we're going to see what it's really hitting for now, because teams can they can scout him now, so it ain't no secret.
Right.
Yeah,
no, that's a great point. They can scout him. To talk about Town is do we keep D. Jackson? Do we let him go? I don't know how that got started, but
yeah, I don't know where that came. You know what? I think it's him. Deshaun just need a hug. Right now, Deshaun Jackson, if you're listening, I'm in North Philly. I will meet you on Broad and whatever and give you a hug.
Give you a hug.
Just keep your mouth shut. I think what's happening, he's ruining his own career because it's all about me. And I get that. You got to be like that sometimes in football, but that's what you hire your agent for. You know, you can't come out in the public and say, I want this. You just signed the contract. You know, you got your money. Now you done spent it all up because you let your cousin break in your house and steal your stuff, you know. And Pookie and Ray Ray, they done took your chains. Now you want an extra couple more dollars.
Right. Top, tell us more about your cause and why it's important to you. How did you get attached to this specific cause?
This Saturday, which is March 22nd, I do comedy for a cause. And then it's a fundraiser for autism awareness. The reason is dear to my heart. I'm a single father of 3 children. My youngest son, Elijah, he was diagnosed with autism. So with dealing with it, being around it, getting as much knowledge as I can about it, I just wanted the world to know that this does exist. You know, it's out here in the world. And I just want to bring as much light to it as possible, you know. So my way of doing that was starting a foundation. It's called Eli's Way. We're building off of that. This fundraiser is for it's this new laptop that they have. They're called smart boards. And basically what it is like just a typical tablet. But with that tablet, you know, you can move with your eyes, you can move with, you know, you can touch it, and it really grabs the children's attention. And where my son gets his therapy, they only have 5, and they need about 12. So all the money that we raise this Saturday will go to purchasing smart boards for the foundation. So we're donating everything to Children's Hospital. So I don't make a dime off of this, and It's not about making money. It's about raising it to get these smart boards. So, because I want my son to get the best education as possible. So, sometimes you can't put a dollar sign on that.
Right. And we're glad that we have people out there like you that will take up a cause and help others, not just the person that affects you the most. So that's definitely honorable. So. About the event Saturday, just give our listeners all they need to know about the event and how they can get tickets and or support the cause in general if they want to.
Okay. We're doing it at the Pegasus Room, which is at 5534 Pulaski Avenue, Philadelphia, PA. It's called the Pegasus Room. It's this Saturday, which is March 22nd. The doors open at 7. The comedy show starts at 8:30. We're going to present, because I have 3 other families whose children is autistic as well. So they're coming. We're going to make the donation to them because they're from the Children's Hospital. So they're coming from the hospital to the show. We make the donation, and then they're going to leave. Then that's when we start the funny, and we start acting, a fool. Also, if you want to make a donation, it's powerhousecomedy.com. You can go on there. They can make the donation on there, $1, 50 cents. Some of y'all still got a little bit of W-2 money, I know, because they went out. I know the dates. Look, they laughing. The YouTube brothers, y'all got y'all's too, so y'all better be making a $5 donation.
What's that site again? Powerhouse Comedy?
Powerhousecomedy.com.
All right.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll make a donation. We definitely going to make a donation,
Don't worry about that.
Yeah. So listen, man, we appreciate your time. how can people follow your career and get in touch with you? What's your personal contact info?
You can follow me on social media. I'm at Top Flight. That's 2 P's and 2 I's. TOPPFLIIGHT on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. I still got people on Black Planet, believe it or not. My grandma is
for the world.
Hey, look.
How about like Christian Mingle and Farmers Only? How about Christian Mingle, Farmers Only? You on them too?
I'm on there too. I got ChristianMingle.com. I got an account.
Okay, no doubt.
Me and my grandma, we still on MySpace. It's just me and her. That's why we call it MySpace. It's just me and her.
Well, look, man, thanks for your time. We appreciate everything you're doing, and that's a good
problem,
cause. And our company will definitely make a donation, and we'll keep in touch with you and follow along with your path. All right.
And same here, and I definitely stay in tune, y'all. War Sports. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for having me.
All right, take it easy, brother.
Absolutely. Bro.
All right, y'all be good. Take it out.
All right. That's Top Flight, everybody. Make sure you go support their cause. That's an honorable cause. And, War Room Sports love the kids. ODB voice.
No doubt.
We got a call on the line.
If y'all check out our Facebook page, that's facebook.com/War Room Sports. We actually have the flyer up about, it has the information on the comedy event going on this weekend. Remember, the event is for autism awareness, so the comedians, like he said, aren't making a dime. All of this money goes to a good cause. And we're also going to put that link on the page
as well.
No doubt. And that link, we're also going to put it on our page, thepowerhousecomedy.com. We're going to put that on the Facebook and Twitter pages. And if you guys have anything that you can donate to the cause of autism, $1, $5, $10, whatever you have, just make sure you go ahead and do that. It's powerhousecomedy.com, but we're going to put that stuff all over our social media platforms.
Absolutely. Real quick, before we move on, let's get this call on the air. He's been holding for a minute. This is the homie, Henny. Henny's calling to chop it up with us. What's up, Henny? How you?
What's going on, son? I'm chilling, man. Enjoying the show. It's a good show. It's a commendable cause that the brothers, out here fighting for, so salute to him. Wish them the best with that charity.
I know you want to chime in about the comedy debates, though, man. Who you got, man? You got Martin or Chris Rock, or you got Eddie or Richard Pryor, man? Who you think is funniest?
I mean, as far as the two biggest legends, I guess, in the comedy game ever, I got to go Eddie, because Eddie's more my generation. Like, I remember...
I know.
I remember
I know
I remember my
Eddie's
mother took
fan,
me to
so
go
he
see
agrees
Raw.
with you.
I was 12, and, I begged her so bad. She took me to go see Raw at 12, so I was Eddie's the one for me.
No doubt.
Jim,
no doubt. Okay.
I'm over here smiling because I'm an Eddie Murphy stan.
Dev is an Eddie
I love
stan,
Richard
so
Pryor to death.
But...
Man, I love Richard Pryor like a play uncle, but I think Eddie Murphy is the king, man. I think everybody who's doing it now is, just like Eddie based a lot of what he did after Richard Pryor. There's always somebody that has to go first, but some people pick it up and they actually do it better, in my opinion. And I just think Eddie Murphy is the king. I think everybody doing it right now is trying to do a little bit of Eddie. You see Kevin Hart. Like, Eddie owned the 80s. Kevin Hart is in, 15 movies a year right now trying to get his, while he still can. That's my guy, man.
Shout to Jimmy listening. Just text me Goonie Goo Goo. So everybody loves Eddie. let me ask you guys. Let me ask you guys a question though. Martin Lawrence versus Chris Rock though. Who you got in that one though, Henny?
Just pure brilliance, man. Chris Rock is so he's so intellectual, man. The angles he takes is so regular, but yet it's brilliant in it because he just makes you think. Just plain out funny. It's not too many people walking the face of the earth just plain out funnier than Martin. Martin's hilarious. But just from a stand-up perspective, all around, I would say Martin hands down. But from a stand-up point of view,
I got you. That's a great point.
It might be Chris.
That's a great point because you have stand-up, then you have everything else in terms of movies and TV shows. And it's funny when we put these questions together. I'm sitting there arguing with myself because Martin at one point was so funny. him just walking in the room, I would die laughing. But I get what you're saying. Chris Rock with stand up, like, dude he's brilliant. He reminds me of like George Carlin, and George Carlin is like my favorite ever. But Chris Rock reminds me of him with his wit. He's very witty, and his stand up is amazing. But his movies,
Chris Rock had that grown man stand up comedy. You know, he talked about
his movies
issues that were important, but he made them
horrible.
His movie game. True.
Yeah, no doubt. Henny, man, thanks for the call, though, good brother. We about to move on and talk some more sports. We appreciate the support, and thanks for the call, homie.
No doubt. Your brothers keep doing y'all thing. Salute to y'all, man. I enjoyed it, man. I'm going to keep tuning in.
Take it easy,
honey.
All right,
appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Hey, Dev, who you got in the Martin Chris Rock? I don't even think I got to ask you, though.
Yeah, I'm a Martin stan, too. So, you know.
Yeah, you're a Martin stan, too. B. Austin, who you got in those two
Martin
questions?
was a dude that we kind of watched grow, yo. We kind of watched Martin grow. I mean, we watched Chris Rock grow with Pookie and the ribs on I'm going to get you sucker and all that.
Chris Rock is a funny bull. And like y'all said, the stand-up game is crazy. Overall, Martin seems like he just would be funny 24/7, 365. Now, as far as the other two, I'm a huge Eddie fan, but I don't have the same bias because I've got to count some of the bad stuff against Eddie, so I would go Richard Pryor. I've never seen Richard Pryor do anything that was whack, ever.
Eddie's bad stuff came. I do too, but Eddie's stuff came. No. I'm just being real. Eddie's stuff came. Like a lot of the bad stuff came at a point in his longevity that a lot of comedians don't even make it to, though. While they're gone, you know, he's still around making stuff and making money, but a lot of it is terrible.
That's because Richard wasn't here. He was on that Ursay. But nonetheless, man.
He was Ursaying it out.
Yeah. I mean, but when Richard passed, he wasn't really doing much at the time when he passed.
It's like, he defended.
I got an uncle that looks just like Richard. I got an uncle that looks just like Richard.
Hey, B. Austin, you already knew what that is. Dev will defend Eddie Murphy no matter what. Like, he defends the movie Dave. I don't know how you do that, but he'll defend it, yo. So
you never heard me defend it. I just said I went to see it. I ain't never defended it.
There's no defending it.
That movie was as terrible as it looked.
He even used the Eddie's making money angle. Like, what does money have anything to do? Like,
I did that.
But yo, let's move on though, real quick before we get into some hot topics. Tell people how to hear us real quick.
All right, everybody. Of course, you know you can check us out at warroomsports.com. While you're there, just browse around the site. But if you want to call in and speak to us about any of today's topics, dial the Digital Extreme Tech hotline at 323-410-0012. Press 1 when prompted. If you're already listening from your phone, just press 1 if you want to talk. All right, and Jimmy, these hot topics are brought to you by
my favorite sponsor. No, I'm just joking. I love all our sponsors. It's Audible. Schedule to text, just read as much as you want. Try audiobooks and kick back and let someone else do the reading for you. All you have to do is visit Audible and sign up for your free trial. Go to audibletrial.com/warroomsports. In no time, you can be listening to the latest bestsellers, hands-free, stress-free. I'm listening to a couple books right now. I actually just finished Colin Cowherd's book as well as the Wilt book. So, of course, I went and got the Bill Russell book because I just did Wilt, so now I got to listen to Bill Russell's book, but also a book called The Circle. So, you know, get my NBA history game on, you know what I mean? I'm studying the history of the sports. But nonetheless, audibletrial.com/warroomsports, you can actually get a free book by going that. So even if you don't want to stay with Audible, just go on and get the free book. You know, get a basketball book so we can talk hoops. With that being said, let's move on.
Hey, and we need to, we could talk to the homie, Steven Sattel, and trying to make this thing right up on Audible. For everybody who don't want to read, they can sit back and let somebody read it for them, just like Jimmy said. So we got to put the homie on to that. Yeah, we got to get him on there. All right, so some hot topics. Of course, we know that the NCAA tournament is in full effect. Shout out to everybody out there who picked Dayton to win, or who claim they picked Dayton to win after it happened. But I'm pretty sure it's true because most people out there have like 6 or 7 different brackets, which, I'm all about sheets of integrity. Shout out to Mike and Mike. Before we get into you guys' picks for the Final Four and all that, any teams stand out to you guys as being like the biggest snubs of the tournament? People who didn't get in?
Yo, I'm going to jump off the cliff right now and say SMU part of it because SMU supports the War Room. Their coaches have been in our show, so I got to show love there. Besides the fact that they were a ranked team that didn't make the
Larry
tournament.
Brown.
Yo, Larry Brown is a friend of the show, but, they didn't make the tournament, and they were a ranked team, though. So that jumps.
They were ranked 23rd by USA Today and 25th in the AP poll. Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, because they're the ones that are going to, that school's going to pop out there every time we talk about this. I hear a little bit of sentiment for Green Bay, who went 24-6. They were a bubble team from the Horizon League that everybody thought was going to make it. They did lose in the semis of the Horizon League tournament to Milwaukee. So I'm pretty sure, if they were right on that bubble, that probably was the pin that burst the bubble. But back to SMU, Akil and I were talking about this. I was just down in Dallas with him, and, he was talking about it. I thought actually he was going to make the show today because I thought he had some stuff to say on that. But, he had a lot to say about it. And I agree for the most part, but as much as you can make a case for them, of course there's some things that you can point to of why they didn't make the tournament. But like Jimmy said, it's puzzling that a ranked team just didn't make the tournament. But their non-conference, let's start with their overall strength of schedule. It was 129th in the nation. But their non-conference strength of schedule was in the 300s. So besides the people, basically in their conference, the schools that they played outside of their conference, the schedule was basically trash truck juice. Now, we don't know if this was because, people didn't want to take the games against SMU because, people know what Larry Brown can do once he gets his full grip on a program. Or if Larry Brown was just not scheduling good schools. They could have come back to bite him. What do you guys think? By the way, Payne from Michigan State right now has 40 of Michigan State's 89 points. Just wanted to let y'all know that.
I think
actually has 41 of 89.
I think guys know what Larry Brown can put together no matter who he has out on the floor. I mean, if you commit to being in shape, he will commit to structuring a way to make you competitive. I mean, we've seen this guy win with guys that he picked up out of the YMCA league and just put with a star. But then the other side of that, I think as he builds the program, it's a matter of him ramping things up. So I think that he wasn't shooting for the absolute toughest schedule or trying to schedule the toughest games either. So it's a little bit of both. I would have liked to see what they could have done in the tournament.
Right. I would think that Larry Brown wouldn't have trouble scheduling, tough opponents because just the allure of being able to coach against basically a living legend, somebody who's won on both levels. I think that's something that most college coaches would love to do. So I don't see why their non-conference schedule was as weak as it was, but I don't know. Like I said, Akil is closer to that situation, and he talks, he's at their practices a lot, so maybe he can speak on it when we get him on the show or on one of these videos or something. And they also had no wins over ranked teams out of conference. They lost by 3 to Virginia, but that's when Virginia was ranked like 23. They ended up getting a number 1 seed in the tournament themselves. And they also lost to Houston in the quarterfinals of the conference tournament. So, these bubble teams, it's always great if they end up winning their conference tournament. It kind of solidifies their spot in the tournament. But with those things, the things that I named and the fact that they had a couple of bad losses during the season, one of them was to Temple. Shout out to Temple, hometown. That all factored into why they didn't make it. But we go back to the original point that Jimmy made. They were a ranked team.
Yeah, I mean,
only
with all
ranked
that being
team
said,
that's not in the field.
with their strength of schedule being what it is, with everything that you said about them, they still were a ranked team. And the thing about it is this, right? I I look at it as a little bit of both in terms of their schedule, but I also look at it as Larry Brown just got there. So what he's already been able to do to that organization, it just shows that their future is bright. And,
strong.
Only problem with that is, Larry Brown quits on everybody. So, he may quit. Shout to Larry Brown. Again, I said that's the homie, but we know it.
They're going to make
what
it.
It is.
First year they make it to the tournament, he out.
Yeah, he out going to another college, man.
Easy.
That's what he does, though.
Too easy.
He makes sight into sugar, and then he rolls out. Like, the only only one time he took a job that wasn't a project was Detroit. And you saw what happened with them. They made a few trades during the season, got Rasheed Wallace in the mix, and they went on to win the title. So it shows you if he was, the type to take teams that are already talented, it might have, his career might be different in terms of decoration.
He has basketball and coaching diabetes, He stays away from the sugar.
He took the Clippers, the Bobcats, and a long-time struggling Sixers franchise to the championship.
And
took the Sixers to the finals.
I mean, listen, man, it's good and bad when it comes to Larry Brown because you say he got diabetes. I think he's also got liabetes, and he's also a liabetic because he's like, I'm going to do this and that, and he'll roll out, So let's keep it real, though. He's a friend of the show, but let's keep it real. He's a liabetic. He got liabetes, and he's a liabetic. But anyway,
look at that Larry Brown appearance where he was banking on. You can cross Larry Brown, Michael Vick. You can cross all them off the list. Donovan McNabb.
Man, we got to keep it honest, though. But with that being said, I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens to that program moving forward because, they were competitive. They didn't make the tournament, but they were a very competitive team. It's always going to be somebody that, should have made it that didn't. So that's just, it is what it is.
It's not that many this year, though. I only see arguments for maybe 2 or 3 teams. So it seems like they're kind of getting it right. There's not a lot of people out there bitching about getting snubbed. And if they are, they're probably tripping. Like they're not looking at their own record. So let's go to the Final Four picks. Who do you guys have in the Final Four, championship game, and ultimately who's winning the whole thing?
All right, because I got 2 brackets, right? So I'm gonna give you both Final Four because I try to switch them up a little bit.
Jim how them sheets of integrity.
No, I definitely don't. All right, I'm gonna give you my 4 from the War Room Sports brackets. I have Kansas, Michigan State, Arizona, and Louisville. Now my other one, and it's kind of similar. I have Florida, Michigan State, Arizona. I'm sorry, that's Florida, Michigan State, Wisconsin, and Michigan. So that's my 4 there.
Yeah,
so Michigan State is on both of
mine.
Yeah, Wisconsin definitely looks good, y'all. But I'm not going to lie, I picked Ohio State in both of these brackets. So FOH to Warren Buffett.
Yeah, I felt bad for Aaron Kraft, man. I like that dude. And he went out swinging, though. He made a tough shot, but then he was actually the defender on the dude who came right back and made a tough shot. And defense was actually his thing, but he was D'ing the dude up, riding the hip, but he actually forgot to jump at the shot, and I think the shot was easier than it had to be. He rose up on him. So who you have winning, like your championship game?
All right. Well, in the one bracket I have Kansas, and the other one I have Florida. Which is interesting because they both come out of the same region. I have Florida and finals in one and Kansas in the other. So basically,
so it was like that region was so difficult for you to pick. You just did it twice, huh?
You already know.
All right, my Final Four is the same as in one of your brackets. Kansas, Michigan State, Arizona, Louisville. Like Michigan State is that team that every year. I mean, of course they've had their downs a few times. They've gone out earlier than they were supposed to, but I constantly watch this team go farther than they're supposed to most years. So they're just a team, and Izzo is a coach that I just trust. So I have them in the Final Four again. I have Michigan State and Arizona playing in the championship, and that's where I have Izzo and the Spartans going down. I got Arizona winning the whole thing. So we'll see how that comes out. I'm not going to get the $1 billion because of Ohio State.
Let me ask you a question. You have a bracket of integrity. You just have the Warren bracket?
Yeah, I'm in like 3 or 4 different things, but I just transport the same bracket to it. Like I don't have any.
Okay, because it's interesting because the one that we have that are just alike are in the War Room League. So
okay, as a matter of fact, I tried to sign up for the Broad Street line, John, but they wanted you to make a whole new Yahoo account and all that. My joint been deactivated for like 3 years now. Yeah, I tried, Roy and Chris, but I wasn't trying to have another email account that I'm not going to use. So y'all should have stopped.
Michigan State, Louisville, Florida, and Arizona, and I got Zona and Michigan State playing in the chip, and Zona win.
Did you say I guess?
He just said I guess.
This is everybody. This is B. Austin, who doesn't play any of these games. He doesn't do brackets.
I swear
he
B. Austin did something different earlier though, B.
He probably did.
I probably did.
He doesn't do brackets. He doesn't do fantasy football, fantasy He doesn't do anything. So when you hear him say I guess, it's probably because he just did his bracket like 2 minutes ago. Man, you did fantasy basketball in like 1999. That don't count.
Yeah, man, he definitely
He did it one time in 99.
Pornhub.
He's going to live on that for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
He said fantasy Pornhub. All right, so those are the snubs. Those are our final 4 picks. And, shout out to everybody that War Room Sports met with down in Dallas this past week, because unexpectedly,
shout out to Mark Cuban.
unexpectedly, we might have a place up in the Final 4 to cover the whole thing. So we should be back down in Dallas in 2 weeks, if everything goes the way everything is supposed to go. So you'll hear from War Room Sports live in Dallas for the Final 4. One more piece of news. Because I don't care about how the brackets look now. We all know the big upset of the day. But one more piece of news in college basketball. Bruce Pearl is back in college basketball. Remember, you had to have a show cause to hire him. And I guess Auburn showed cause because he is now the new coach of the Auburn Tigers. What do you guys think about this hire, especially since, Auburn is such a football-driven university?
I think it's interesting. He became synonymous with Tennessee to me, especially with him wearing the ties and the paint and the jacket. But I want to see what he can do with that program. Yeah. So I want to see what he could do with that program. He seemed to be very excited when he was talking about it, but he always seems excited. I think he'd be on that Irsay a little bit, but I'm anxious to see what he could do with that program. I definitely am.
I think it's a situation where, good college coaches first and foremost are good college coaches because of recruiting. Now, unless you have a bunch of parents out there who are down on him because of the reasons he got in trouble in the first place, which was recruiting violations. Incidentally, when he was recruiting Aaron Kraft, who we just spoke about, who ended up going to Ohio State anyway. But unless you have parents who are just not going to mess with him because of that, and I don't think he will, he's still Bruce Pearl, which means he's still a very good recruiter. The university already speaks for itself as far as the athletic program, especially with football leading the way. So I think it's actually less pressure on him because of, the fact that football is king down in Auburn. But I think because of who he is and what he's going to bring to the table as far as recruiting, I think that program will be so much better way sooner than a lot of people think. Especially without the pressure.
If he can stay clear of any troubles, any violations, at least major violations that would put him in a precarious position, I see Auburn being competitive in 3 seasons at tops. Because at the end of the day, in this business, a lot of recruits that are going to go there are looking for the path of least resistance to professional athletics, professional sports. So Bruce Pearl sits down with the mother and father, or in some cases a single mother, and says to her, I'm going to take care of your son. You see my track record. You see what I've been able to do. I had some challenges. I'm forthcoming. This is what happened. But, I go to church. I eat my Wheaties. I'm a good guy and I'm going to get your son into the NBA or give him the best chance, especially with some of these hidden gems, that may not be top of the top, but top 100, top 200. Yeah, he's going to get that all day. He's going to get that all day. And that's what, as Dad said earlier, it's about recruiting. It's about the talent that you can put on the court. So I think he's going to make them formidable pretty quickly.
I'll say before 3 seasons. Actually, I'll say 2 at the most. And I'm talking success just as far as getting them to the NCAA tournament. When he was with Tennessee, they went to the tournament all 6 years he was there. So like I said, if you're still throwing that Bruce Pearl name around like a recruiting class, one good recruiting class, and most of these kids, the good ones are one and done anyway. One good recruiting class will have them right back in the mix. So not necessarily the mix for like a national championship or a Final Four or anything, but the mix of just being back in the NCAA tournament.
But look, even further to your point, Devin, the things that he did, if you look at the top 10 coaches in NCAA right now, not all time, but right now, what coach in that top 10 doesn't have stuff in the closet or challenges or violations? So it ain't a big deal. It's not.
Plus violations are so subjective to the outside world. NCAA has some crazy strict rules that that are just hard to abide by most of the time. But I'm not giving him any
for calling a recruit on an Android as opposed to an Apple. Like if you use an Apple, you wouldn't have violated it. And a BlackBerry, if you call them on a BlackBerry, you out the league forever. Like, it's corny.
A couple of things real quick. Skyview Kevin, shout to Skyview. He said too many people have the blueprint on how to beat Arizona, so y'all bugging picking Arizona. But another thing is
Skyview, I ain't watch a lick of basketball all season, so I don't care.
Dev think that Miles Simon and Mike Bibby's gonna get off this tournament.
We got experts to come talk about that stuff. I don't put as much thought into it as I used to. I actually do better when I don't put thought into it. So
it's always like that, B. It'd be like chicks who pick based on the color of the jersey that win. Like, shout out to Harvard too, because Harvard got a win today against Cincinnati. So a 12 has beat a 5. Everybody looks for that.
Now
so
I did
to Harvard.
pick that. I did.
Oh,
pick
sure.
That.
Like you went to Harvard.
Cincinnati has fielded the same type of teams for as long as I can remember, man. Cincinnati just always has athletes. They just got these athletes that really don't know how to play basketball, but they can do well throughout the season. They can jump out the gym and stay in any game against any team, and they play really good defense because of their athleticism. But you get down into a thinking man's game, there's no thinking man greater than a Harvard.
I'm gonna keep it a bean.
I'm gonna keep it a bean.
I
saw that coming all the way.
I'm gonna keep it a bean. I wanted to pick Harvard, just because of Tommy Amaker. I wanted to pick Harvard, but because a 12 always beats a 5, I said no. A 12 ain't gonna beat a 5 because a 12 always beats a 5. That makes any sense.
Yeah.
I overthought it like ungodly and picked Cincinnati because I was like, a 12 is supposed to beat a 5, so therefore a 12 ain't gonna beat a 5. So I picked all 5s in the jump.
Instead of going with your,
that was my logic.
Your gut. Instead of going with your gut.
guess what happened? I was still 12 beat a 5, so all that means nothing. But that's what happens when you start doing these brackets, You start like overthinking everything.
No doubt. Real quick, the trade rumors that B. Austin talked about earlier with Deshaun Jackson. We acknowledge we really didn't know where it came from. I'm hearing rumors that Chip Kelly is fed up with dealing with Deshaun Jackson. And I guess until now they did a good job of keeping that in the closet because I didn't really know he was having problems with Deshaun. Do you guys think at this point with the Eagles, a good defense away from being on the brink of success, whatever success means, do you guys think that Deshaun Jackson should be traded now after his best season in the NFL?
No. This actually is a complex answer for me. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Should he be traded? No. I mean, he definitely is a weapon. He definitely adds a lot of value. But by and large, throughout the league, throughout media, with the fans, typically fans, he's overrated. I mean, don't make any mistake about what he is capable of and what, he's a speedster, take the top off of a defense. But we have seen time and time and time and time again that he can be taken out of the game. He's not elite. He's very good, but he's not elite. So with that being said, do you keep him? Yeah, but here's the issue. When you look at the salary cap number, he's making $10 million. He's got a $10 million hit. And when you look at that number, is he worth the headache? It's kind of like he probably values himself as a top, 5 or maybe even top 10 wide receiver, which he is not. So, I'm kind of on the fence because I'm like, don't get it twisted, little dude. You can go, and the Eagles can still go 11-5, 10-6 without you. Like, you're not that big of a deal. But by the same token, I'd rather keep him.
I feel the same way, so there's no, use of me saying a bunch of stuff. But, that's always been my criticism of him being a one-trick pony. I actually thought he showed a few more tricks this season. Doesn't mean I'm sold, though, because he might have done – you saw what he did immediately after the season started talking about more money or a restructured contract or whatever he was really saying. So, who knows if we're ever going to see that again. That might have been – even though it wasn't necessarily a contract year, he looked at it as a contract year. All right, so this next thing, I just want you guys to throw out a few things, and then we can move on and talk some hoops in our last 25, 30 minutes. But somebody brought this up on our Facebook page the other day, facebook.com/warroomsports. Shout out to Johan S. Powell for this question. He asked the group, what is the biggest myth in sports? I'm going to throw it at you guys what are some of the biggest myths in sports, so we can throw a few of them out there. You guys know where I stand. My biggest myth in sports is numbers never lie. I think numbers lie a good percentage of the time. I never even think numbers are what should be used to base your opinions on. I think numbers should be used to back up your opinions, but I think stats and numbers lie all the time. So that's my biggest myth, the first one I could think of. What about you, gentlemen?
He makes his team better. He makes his teammates better.
That's a myth.
I don't think that it's, in some cases I think it's a myth. It's subjective. It's situational. I think on a lot of teams it's a myth.
Let me say something and tell me if this is what you're thinking. I think it's a myth in the way that people use it. I think there's a such thing as, because, people start to go, pointing fingers, this guy makes his teammates better, this guy doesn't. I think any superstar, just by definition, makes his team better. First of all, because you're a superstar and you're going to win more games because you're on the floor. But just because the attention that a superstar garners, the game is going to be a little bit easier for everyone else. I don't necessarily think, but when people start to pick and choose among superstars, he makes his team better, he doesn't. I hear, Allen Iverson doesn't make his team better. Allen Iverson took one of the worst teams in NBA history to the finals. Well, one of the worst finals teams in NBA history. He took a team like that to the finals. You got Carmelo. He's one of the guys that they say, he doesn't make his team better. There's not much of an argument you can put up this season because the Knicks totally stink. But, truthfully, is this team better if Melo just happened to not play for a long period of time? Come on. That's just stupid. So I get where you're going with that. Jimmy, you got a myth that irks you?
Man, I got so many, but I'm just going to go with this one because it's become commonplace to say Wilt played against midgets, therefore everything he did doesn't mean anything. That's just a lie.
It's all good, Jim, because that 30-player list that we came up with.
Yeah,
I never throw it away. So that ammo is right there every time somebody.
Oh yeah, no doubt. I keep that clip on me because but it's just become a thing to say. I just wait on it anytime his name comes up.
I got right in my
email.
It's
just a lie, man. yo, like, it's just a complete lie. Like, in the words of Marlo, man, y'all want it to be one way, but it's the other way, man. It's not even true.
The funny thing is, he played with more cats 6'11", 7 foot and up than the dudes do in this era.
Exactly.
He played against more 7 footers than Shaq did.
It's so many of these like sports myths, and the thing about it is, after certain things are just said, as time passes on, they just become commonplace. But yo, do your history, yo. That's all I'm saying. Yo, shout out to Skyview. He said, no human being can do that. Yo, that's like one of the legendary quotes from our podcast. You know, the great Sonny Hill said that. Speaking of
no human being can do that.
Yo, somebody's screen team. So, B. Austin, what else irks you in the myth department of sports? I got one. I can fill you out. Because you always started off as the biggest trick the devil has ever pulled.
Yeah, I'm good. Yo, we think alike. I'm gonna say, and this is just me personally, the greatest trick that the devil ever pulled was making UMFers believe that Donovan McNabb is actually an elite quarterback. I'm not going to disrespect him in hindsight and say that he was not good, because in my old age, I'm beginning to be a little bit more objective, but he was not elite. He was not very good. He was not exceptional.
I know I threw that up there, but we don't have to get into it. Before we move on, we have the originator of this question on our page on the line. So we're going to go to the line. We got Johan. You there?
Yes, sir. What's up, brothers? How y'all doing?
What's going on, Johan? Now, good. I know you got a myth or two. Since you brought the question up, I know you got something in mind.
Oh,
what are yours?
Goodness, man. I got so many, but as I know,
give us your best one.
One of them, my best one is that Division I top football and basketball players are student athletes.
No doubt. Besides Aaron Kraft, who all the announcers was basically giving a blumpkin to earlier about being a student.
Oh, my goodness.
You're right. You don't find too many of those out there. They just
I agree. You mean to tell me when Aaron Hernandez was in Florida, he went to school, he went to class?
Right, exactly. And that he even had time to. Even if you want to be a student athlete, you don't even have time to do that. It's a job. If I can give you a second one, it's along the same lines, and it's that that student athletes, that their tuition and room and board is free.
Yeah, well, we learned over the years
they got a job.
I'm about to say they definitely have a job. We learned over the years.
They got a job, no question.
That's not necessary. I mean, and it's basically what you value, and that goes back to your first point. If they don't value being students in the first place, then tuition and room and board really doesn't mean anything to them. So it's definitely not free. Like somebody like me, I went to college. I knew I wasn't going to the NBA, so I took advantage of my tuition and my room and board.
I'm dumping Sally Mae right now as we speak.
No question.
No doubt. All right, well, thanks for calling in, man, and thanks for bringing this topic up on the page, man. Keep doing your stuff.
Hey, keep doing the thing in the war room, man. We out here listening.
We appreciate it, homie.
Thank you. Right. Appreciate it.
Yo.
Yeah, that was an interesting question. Like you said, we could go on forever about that topic.
Yo, breaking news: Steve Francis looks like the Crypt Keeper.
Yo, Steve Francis has formaldehyde for blood.
Yo. Hey, look, man. Because we only got like
page, yo.
You're stupid, man. We only got like 20 minutes left, man, and y'all know that's not enough to talk about all these topics we have in basketball. So we did that to ourselves again. But Jimmy, real quick, let's get into that so we can get a couple of them out the way.
Let's talk about some ish. Yo, NBA is brought to you by Fanatics. For the best of your favorite team's merchandise and apparel, shop Fanatics. Shopping Fanatics is easy. Just go to our site at warroomsports.com and click on the Fanatics logo on our main page or our sponsors page and get the latest in NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, NCAA gear and more. For everybody who picked Dayton, go get you some Dayton gear at Fanatics. Just go to warroomsports.com and click on that Fanatics logo. Let's
liabilities.
talk, gentlemen. All y'all with liabilities that said y'all picked Dayton, go get your gear up. Anyway, man, NBA players of the week are one Al Jefferson and Blake Griffin. Al Jefferson is putting up numbers, and Blake Griffin seems to be the player of the week in the West every week that it's not Kevin Durant. Like, you know, so Dev, what's this stuff?
All right, so Al Jefferson and the Bobcats went 4-0 last week. He averaged 24.3 points, 11.5 rebounds, and he played 37.7 minutes per game. So shout out to Al Jefferson. He's somebody that we always knew had game, but, you know, can he be the superstar to lead a team anywhere? And it's the Bobcats. They went 4-0. So whoever leads in scoring on a Bobcat team that won 4 games in a week is automatically going to be the league's best player for the week.
Yo, that's the same thing Frank said. Frank said 4-0, give him the player of the week, no matter what his numbers were.
All right, so Blake Griffin, who is having an MVP season, you know, if guys weren't in the league named LeBron James and Kevin Durant, helped the Clippers go 4-0 this week. He averaged 27 points a game, 9.3 rebounds, 4.8 assists, 1.5 steals. So, and he played 36.9 minutes a game. So shout out to Blake Griffin and the red-hot Los Angeles Clippers.
Yeah, absolutely. Blake Griffin's tearing the league apart. We were very critical of him in the beginning of the season.
That just means he was listening, and I appreciate the fact that he was listening.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I respect
he deserved it. I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. He deserved it, but he's steadily improved as the season went along. So, you know,
we've turned around careers here, man. We've turned around some careers.
Absolutely.
Look at Mike Conley. Mike Conley acknowledged that he listened to the show.
Mike Conley acknowledged that he listened to B. Austin slander him and said he's going to prove B. Austin wrong.
He sure
so
did.
shout out to Mike Conley for being a fan of the War Room, yo.
You only proved him wrong for a year, though. You ain't heard nothing since.
Yeah, pretty much. Anyway, man, let's talk about one Anthony Davis, because my question is, how good is Anthony Davis right now, and what's his upside? I mean, this guy played against Boston. Just listen to this stat line. Boy had 40, 21, and 3. That's right, 40 and 21. Like, yo, that's like Wes Unseld, Willis Reed, Bill Russell numbers, like 40 and 21. What do you guys think about this?
Fourth best power forward in the league right now.
All right, give me the top 3.
4.
You say Kevin Love?
He said 4.
Top 3. Kevin Love, White Moses, Blake Griffin, and LaMarcus Aldridge, and then Anthony Davis.
So he's better than Tim Duncan right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Thaddeus Young better than Tim Duncan right now. I'm going to get killed for that.
Timmy chilling to the playoffs, man. Timmy chilling to the playoffs. But Timmy ain't no stop. Timmy just
got a good team.
This is true. So, Dev, where you got him at, though? You think he's top 3 or 4 power forwards in the league?
Yeah, I got it. Well, yeah, I mean,
that ain't hard to be in here.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Like, that ain't really hard to be in here, but yeah, I'd say top 3 or 4. You know, maybe I won't put him over Tim Duncan, but see, Bosh is that dude where I remember how great Bosh was and how great he can be, but playing where he's playing, he just can't show that every night. So, being objective,
without
even though y'all know I
defend, he started showing flashes.
Yeah, y'all know I defend Bosh to the death, but it's all about what you're doing every night. It may not be his fault.
What about the great
German?
It may
be his fault because he chose to play there.
What about the great
Dirk slowed down a lot. Dirk slowed down a lot, but Dirk, you know, he's not going to produce like Anthony Davis is producing. Yeah, Dirk's not going to produce all over the floor like Anthony Davis. Of course, his offense, I'd take Dirk if we were just talking offense, but Anthony Davis, this young dude is giving you a little bit of everything, and he's growing really fast. So I put him up there as far as production, but he's not polished like a Tim Duncan or a Dirk Nowitzki or something like that. But production-wise,
what I was going to say to get you
off
the hook with Bosh is Bosh plays so many minutes out of position at the 5. He's actually listed as a center right now.
Yeah, but he plays like
he's a 4.
but he played like a
three.
spot up 2 guard or 3. Yeah. He plays like he's in the way, basically. So,
yeah.
Bosh is very talented.
B. Austin, you got to chill with them Vernon Davis pictures, B. That's all I'm going to say about that.
You got to chill with these Steve Francis pictures, too, man. Come on, man.
Yo, Anthony Davis.
Yo, this dude is like my age, man.
Yo, I don't know what's wrong with Steve Francis. Yo, hey, B. Austin, post that on our page so those listening can know exactly what we're talking about.
Don't worry,
Steve
I'm
Francis,
already in the process.
No,
I'll just go ahead. I'm already in the process, yo.
All right,
I'm
cool.
already in the process.
Yo, B. Austin, chill, B. But the Vernon
I'm going to put that as the caption, too. People going to be like,
yo, Steve Francis is out of control right now. For those listening, go to our Facebook page, facebook.com/WarRoomSports, and you'll see what we're laughing at.
Or Twitter, or go to our timeline.
Or our Twitter, which is @WarRoomSports. Because B. Austin just hit us with these Steve Francis, updated Steve Francis play Johnson. Is like,
with him, with Cam Chancellor, with Super Bowl winning safety Cam Chancellor.
And
one of those gentlemen doesn't look alive.
All right, real quick. Let's move on, though. We got a question from our chat room, though. Where do y'all rank Ibaka, if you do rank Ibaka?
I don't.
Okay. Hey, exactly. How about you, Dev?
He's tough, but he's in another overshadowing situation.
Yeah, I think it's also like as years go by, Ibaka gets further and further away from the basket.
He's shooting J's a lot.
He's one of these dudes. He's one of these dudes that wants to be a 2 guard. Like he wants to be a 7-foot 2 guard. He's out of control.
I mean, he plays for the Spain national team, so you kind of expect that. Only tough boy they really got is the other Gasol.
Yeah, true that.
Everybody else shooting J's.
I give Ibaka his props for his defensive intensity and his girlfriend, and that's it.
Yeah, she can get the man. She can get the man A's. But listen though, next thing is this. I want to talk about my homie Steve Nash, aka DB Cooper, aka Danny Ocean, who's out there committing robberies, stealing money. But here's the great thing about it: Steve Nash, unlike most athletes, has come out and said he's not retiring because he can get paid. He said he's not retiring because he wants the dough, and he loves the dough more than you know. So he's going to stay around in rehab and continue to cash his checks. He admits to that. Mm-hmm. How does it make you guys feel when you hear an athlete literally tell you, like, yo, I'm going to keep taking this money as long as they're paying it to me?
It makes me feel like if you're going to overpay me, I'm going to take that money too. Like, I ain't mad at him at all. The Lakers signed me.
This is one of those things where we ask for honesty from players. We get tired of hearing, athletes speak. We get tired of hearing that all the time. The politically correct way to go. I personally get tired of the fact that fans get fooled thinking that when these players go on here and say the most important thing to them is winning a championship, I'm tired of fans actually believing that. Like, stop being stupid. So I'm glad Steve Nash was honest because 10 people out of 10 who are in his situation and still can go out there and get that salary of $9.8 million next season, they're going to go out there and do it whether they can play or not, whether they're injured or not. They're going to go out there and get that free money. He's made like $137 million over his career. So you're going to have the people out there who count other people's money and say, he's made enough money, but come on, $9 million is a lot of money no matter how much you
make. I have two things to say about that.
Hold on, because that comment that you just made, Dev, was in a documentary that he did attached to the 4 letters, and he actually said that. He said, I know fans will look at the money and count the money that I've made, and they may say that $9.7 million is a fraction or it's a small amount, but I'm just being honest. I want that. I want this mine.
Here's my thing, right? First thing
he was
I
on my
say
team,
is this, yo.
Like Jimmy?
Yo, here's the first thing I gotta say. All y'all grown folks out there, stop counting other dudes' money, yo. That gotta chill. Y'all always counting somebody else's bread. Maybe he likes ladies of the evening, and he likes ladies of the evening, and he spent all that bread. But I mean, that's the first.
Or maybe he got $100 million in the bank, and it ain't your business.
Yeah, just stop counting other dudes' bread is one. 2. Yo, the interview went like this. They asked Steve Nash, how does he feel about, being able to collect money for running on a treadmill and sitting courtside at Lakers games. And his response was this, yo.
Rock.
Get
So he basically said, listen, man, I'm getting this money, and it is what it is. I appreciate the honesty. Even though he is on my team and he's stealing money, look, they paid it to him. You can't knock the hustle, man. That's all I'm saying. Like, let that man get his bread, and, you know, it is what it is. Danny Ocean. Like I said, Danny Ocean / DB Cooper. And if you don't know who either one of them are, use Google. But he was very honest.
This has nothing to do with the conversation, but don't y'all find it ironic that we use that slang, presidents, or dead presidents, but the biggest bill, like dude wasn't even a president? I guess that's why Puff came out with All About the Benjamin. I'm sure a lot of people out there think he was a president because they just, you know.
It is what it is, man. I was wondering if Steve Nash knows. You think Steve Nash knows whether he's a president or not? Steve
Nash don't care. He won his money. So pay that man his money.
He get paid in Canadian money, all them little dumbass coins. Shout out to our Canadian fans, by the way, yo. We love Canada. Poutine is the truth. Listen though.
And Poutine. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yo, and Canada has great poutine and great poutine. Anyway, yo, it's the truth though. Some of them. No, I'm be quiet if I get myself in trouble. Yo, let's move on. What can and will Phil Jackson do for the New York Knickerbockers?
Well, like, my thoughts, like we discussed it, you know, last week when we said none of us has ever seen him actually be the architect of a team. My thoughts on it, you know, when we were talking earlier, I pointed to Larry Bird. Like, we didn't know he could do it either. Phil Jackson, even though we don't know whether or not, you know, he had a hand in building those great teams that he coached, I would venture to say that he probably did. Like, who's going to kick Phil Jackson out of the personnel meeting? Like, no, you just coach. Like, this is none of your business. Who's going to do that? And like I've mentioned time and time again, you know, teams have always had Phil Jackson's stamp on it. So I don't know, you know, how he is as far as, like, B. Austin was talking earlier while we were doing a video about the cap and all that kind of stuff. He may not have knowledge of that, but just like his coaching staffs, we know Phil Jackson is going to hire good people. So, I mean, I think it's a positive step. It's just a difficult situation to recover from. New York always digs itself a giant hole, so he's not starting off with a fair deck in the first place. So that's going to be the bigger challenge of whether or not he can do the job, in my opinion.
Yeah, B. Austin, what's your thought?
I mean, he's Phil Jackson, and you like to give him the benefit of the doubt of being Phil Jackson. Deb made some great points today where we were shooting it with our cohorts and associates up in Bristol, Connecticut, that, you know, he's a great constructor of teams. And by that, I believe you were referring more towards the coaching teams that are used to his supporting staff. You know, it wasn't always Phil designing the actual plan, but he put in place the people that could do jobs to support his head coaching gig. Tex Winter.
I'm just saying that was my point, though, cuz. Why can't you give me my credit, though? That was me that said that.
Oh, man, you got it. Hey, as long as you know it was one of them two, and it wasn't me. I didn't make it. I think that he's stealing money, and rightfully so. The Knicks are willing to pay him. He's coming to town.
Steve Francis. I mean, it's Steve Nash, not Steve Francis. He ain't on his Francis.
No.
Francis is dead. I'm in his Steve Nash.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm in his Nash.
Phil is younger than Steve Francis.
Steve Francis is sad, man. This is sad, yo. This is sad, man.
Yo, I got to put this on the company IG page, man, because this is out of control right now, man. Steve Francis, yo. Anyway, man, Steve Francis done messed up the second half of our show, man. Damn, in terms of Phil Jackson, like B. Austin said, the point I was making is...
Phil Jackson helped Steve Francis? Can Phil help
nobody can, man. Steve Francis, Anyway, my point is this. Phil Jackson has shown the ability to build a management team, for lack of a better term, in terms of his coaching ability. He put a lot of great assistant coaches who ended up becoming head coaches. He had the great Tex Winter, who's one of the greatest basketball minds of all time. So as a president, GM, the leader of operations, he'll probably put together a good team, man, to help him out in terms of building the Knicks up. But
I know Jim's trying to talk, man. I can't stop looking at this photo.
We got to chill. We're here. All right, last question, man. There's 3 teams right now who want Melo. Of course, the Knicks, where he already is. Then you have the Bulls and Rockets. What's the best fit for Melo? Stay put, or the Bulls or the Rockets out of those teams?
Stay away from Steve Francis.
Believe it or not, because a lot of people would think. I think the team up in Houston, I don't think that would be an ideal situation. I'm not one of those people, Melo go and mess it up. I just think Melo and another accomplished scorer and James Harden.
He wouldn't play no defense.
And neither one of them actually plays defense. I don't think that would be good for Dwight Howard's career because he'd be cleaning up a lot of blown assignments and he'd be injured again. So I think Houston can be tough enough with the team that they have with a few more, mid-level type additions instead of trying to do the Miami Heat thing. I think they could be good enough to compete. So it's between the Knicks and the Bulls for me. The Knicks, of course, they need Melo in every way. If Melo bounces from New York, then they're just, dead in the water altogether. But I think he would be a good fit in Chicago, even with Derrick Rose coming back, because that's a team under Thibodeau who plays the kind of defense where Melo can basically go out and do what Melo does and be, his defensive liabilities can be, they can be masked a little bit in Chicago. So I think his scoring would really help a team that we always say has trouble scoring. So I'd say the Bulls would be the best fit. Get Boozer out of there, let Melo take that place in the post and go for it.
Chicago is best fit. I think New York, actually staying in New York would be second best. With the money that's on the table, if he's about money first, loyalty second, he'll stay in New York. If he's about winning a chip and advancing his legacy, he'll go to Chicago. That's my take.
Houston could be a quote-unquote money grab as well, though, because, the whole state tax situation. So it'll be like the White in L.A., where everybody reported that he left $30 million on the table when he really only left like $9 million on the table. But I'm not counting his money. And, 9 could have been important.
It won't be a defensive grab, that's for sure.
They said no defensive grab. Listen,
I think Thibodeau will bring something out of him.
I don't even know if Thibodeau can help that be.
Not make him a good defender, but he'll maybe bring some effort into
He'll hide him and get effort. He'll
either hide him or he'll play him out and practice in front of all his teammates. Like, you got the 12th man off the bench and here D'ing up. You got to do something, But Houston, to me, just wouldn't be a good fit. True that.
Man. Anyway, man. So, last thing real quick. Did you guys see that wraparound pass from LeBron Raymond James?
Yeah.
I saw it.
It was beautiful. Of course, sycophants messed it up by shout out to, who was it, Bleacher Report? Whoever wrote that article said it was an impossible pass. That's where you lose me. I thought the pass
he just did it. How's it impossible if he just did it, though?
Yeah. I thought the pass was great. The accuracy of the pass was most impressive because you got to have some strong-ass forearms and wrists to wrap the joint the opposite way around the defender and hit the guy at the three-point line at the same time. But I was in a conversation yesterday, and somebody brought up a good point. He was like, that was basically a set where he knew where Ray Allen was going to be. So I'm not taking away from the difficulty of the pass because it was impressive. But dude brought up Magic, and he was like, the way Magic used to bounce stuff through people in traffic in transition with moving targets was way more impressive. So you can't call this impossible. And I really I appreciated that point that he made.
I mean, Magic redefined the whole passing game. It's like when people make a pass, that's the first thing that comes up. That's like a Magic pass. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man.
Who was a better passer, Magic or Pistol Pete?
Magic.
Pistol Pete passed?
With that being said, let's get out of here on that note right there. Thanks for joining us again in the War Room, good folks. Shout out to everybody in the chat room, those on Facebook and Twitter, all the callers who chimed in to holler at us, those we got on air. We appreciate it. Those we couldn't get to, we apologize. Special thanks to Steve Sattel for coming on, as well as the comedian Top Flight. Make sure to support them. Steve Sattel with the book, and also Top Flight in his fight against autism. Go check him out in Philly this weekend if you're around. Tune in next week, same time, same place, for some more great sports talk. Yo, also, shout out to Steve Francis for making the second half of this show very laughable. Also, we want to set up a PayPal for him, so look out for that on War Room Sports. We're going to take donations for Steve Francis. Until next time, everybody, enjoy March Madness. Check us out, Facebook, Twitter, at War Room Sports, and WarRoomSportsTV.com for all our video content. Listen, as we always say, don't accept mediocrity. Be steadfast in the war against ignorance. We'll see you chumps on top. R.I.P., Big.
R.I.P. Steve.
6 to 8. Yeah. War Room Sports. Y'all ready? Let's go. Stay in tune to Jimmy. Know the blueprint. Yo. Every Thursday, 6 to 8, they do this. Shout out to Dev. PJ. B. Austin. Bay on replay. WarRoomSports.com. Get that mobile app. It's knocked out. 323 working 0012. They be going and you sensitive, then oh well. Yeah. Physical podcast, let's talk sports. Showtime like magic in the block push. Listen live, push one to join in. Rip your team or listen for your enjoyment. Hip hop dollars, pit stop and knowledge. Should be in sports credits, I ain't talking college. 5 guys, no beef though. Corporate secret, but the streets know. Belafonte, I got a G flow. KC, royalty, I'm in beast mode. 2 hours, get your game up. Who's the best in sportscast? You better name us. War Room Sports. Yeah, you know, Jimmy, Dev, PJ, Stop Back, B. Austin. I'm shot. Up and coming on the beat.
War Room Sports. www.warroomsports.com. What? Ain't no more to it.